Rain lashed against the panoramic windows of the obsidian tower, blurring the sprawling cityscape of Neo-Viridia into a smeared kaleidoscope of neon. Inside, Alara traced patterns on the frost forming on her glass of elderflower wine, the ice clinking softly. At 23, she was one of the youngest and arguably most powerful mages in the city, a rising star within the Viridian enclave. Yet, tonight, she felt a weariness that settled deep in her bones. The enclave ball was in full swing, a glittering affair of flowing gowns, sharp suits, and subtle displays of magical prowess. Alara, dressed in a deep crimson gown that shimmered with embedded spell threads, had endured hours of polite conversation, veiled power plays, and the ever-present scrutiny that came with being a prodigy. Lost in thought again, Alara, a voice purred beside her. She turned to see Silas, his silver hair gleaming under the chandelier light, a predatory smile playing on his lips. Silas Thorne was everything Alara was not: charming, ruthless, and utterly predictable. He was also the Enclave's de facto leader, a man who saw her as an asset to be acquired. "Just admiring the view, Silas," she replied, the words smooth as silk. "Such a shame to waste such a beautiful night on solitude," he said, his eyes lingering on the curve of her neck. "I was hoping you might grant me the pleasure of a dance." Alara suppressed a sigh. "Perhaps later. I need some air." She slipped away, weaving through the throng of dancers until she reached the balcony. The wind whipped her hair around her face, and she closed her eyes, drawing on the raw power that thrummed beneath her skin. Magic was the air she breathed, the fire in her veins. It was both a gift and a burden. A flicker of movement caught her eye. On the rooftop of the building across the street, a figure stood silhouetted against the stormy sky. Tall, cloaked, and radiating an aura of intense energy, they were utterly still, watching. Even from this distance, Alara could feel the weight of their gaze. Intrigued, she focused her senses, trying to pierce the figure's identity. The air crackled with static, a warning she instinctively recognized. Whoever this person was, they were exceptionally skilled at masking their presence. As if sensing her scrutiny, the figure moved, drawing something from beneath their cloak. A blade, gleaming with an unnatural silver light. They raised it, not in attack, but in a silent salute. Then they vanished. Alara stood frozen, her heart hammering against her ribs. A sense of unease settled over her, a premonition that something was about to change. She couldn't shake the feeling that the figure on the rooftop was more than just a casual observer. They were a player, and the game was about to begin. The next morning, Alara was in the Enclave archives, a vast labyrinth of ancient texts and forgotten lore. She sought answers, a clue, anything that could explain the figure she had seen. "Obsessed are we?" a familiar voice teased. Liam, her closest friend and fellow mage, leaned against a towering bookshelf, a mischievous glint in his eyes. Liam was a master of illusion magic, a talent he often used for harmless pranks and occasional acts of rebellion against the Enclave's rigid rules. "I saw someone last night," Alara said, her voice low, "on the rooftop across from the tower. They were watching." Liam's expression turned serious. "Watching who?" "Watching us." "I don't know. They were masked, cloaked, and they had a blade, a silver blade that pulsed with energy. I tried to sense them, but their magic was like a wall." Liam frowned. "That's not good. The Enclave has enemies, of course, but none who would be so brazen as to reveal themselves like that." "Exactly," Alara said. It felt deliberate, like a challenge. They spent hours poring over dusty tomes and crumbling scrolls, searching for any mention of a silver blade or a warrior shrouded in mystery. They found legends of ancient assassins, tales of rogue mages, and whispers of forgotten gods, but nothing that matched the figure Alara had seen. As the afternoon wore on, Elara grew increasingly frustrated. "There has to be something," she muttered, running a hand through her hair. "Someone who knows more." "There is one," Liam said slowly. "But you're not going to like it." He led her to a secluded corner of the archives, to a section hidden behind a wall of enchanted wards. This was where the Enclave kept its most dangerous secrets, its most forbidden knowledge. "This is where they keep the records of the Shadow Syndicate," Liam said, his voice barely a whisper. "A network of assassins, spies, and mercenaries who operate in the shadows. They're rumored to be centuries old, with ties to some of the darkest figures in history." Elara stared at him, her eyes wide. "You think the figure I saw is connected to them?" "It's possible. The Syndicate is known for using silver blades, enchanted with a rare type of shadow magic. They're also masters of disguise and deception. But why would they be watching the Enclave?" Elara asked. "We're not their usual target." "Maybe they're not targeting the Enclave," Liam said, his gaze meeting hers. "Maybe they're targeting you?" That night, Elara couldn't sleep. The image of the cloaked figure haunted her dreams. She tossed and turned, the city lights painting shifting patterns on her bedroom ceiling. Suddenly, a sharp crack echoed through the room. Elara shot up in bed, her magic flaring to life. She grabbed the crystal dagger she kept hidden beneath her pillow and crept towards the window. The glass was shattered, a jagged hole gaping in the center. A figure stood on the balcony, silhouetted against the night sky. The same figure she had seen on the rooftop. "Who are you?" Elara demanded, her voice trembling slightly. The figure stepped into the light, and Elara gasped. It was a woman, tall and lithe, with eyes as silver as the blade she carried. Her face was partially obscured by a dark veil, but Elara could see the sharp angles of her cheekbones and the determined set of her jaw. "They call me Nyx," the woman said, her voice a low, husky whisper. "And I'm here to offer you a choice." "A choice?" Elara repeated, her grip tightening on the dagger. "What kind of choice?" "The Enclave is not what you think it is," Nyx said. "They are hiding something, something that could destroy everything you hold dear." "That's a lie," Elara retorted. "The Enclave is dedicated to protecting the city, to upholding the balance of magic." Nyx laughed, a cold, humorless sound. "Protecting the city? Upholding the balance? They are using you, Elara. You are a weapon to them, a means to an end." "What do you want?" Elara asked, her voice hardening. "Why are you telling me this?" "I want you to see the truth," Nyx said. "I want you to join me. Together, we can expose the Enclave's secrets and bring them to justice." Elara stared at her, her mind reeling. She had always trusted the Enclave, believed in its mission. But Nyx's words had planted a seed of doubt, a nagging feeling that something was not right. "I don't believe you," Elara said, her voice stronger now. "I need proof." Nyx nodded. "I expected nothing less. Meet me tomorrow night at the midnight market. I will show you what the Enclave is hiding." With a final lingering look, Nyx turned and disappeared into the shadows, leaving Elara alone with her doubts and fears. The midnight market was a hidden bazaar, a haven for the city's supernatural underbelly. Witches, warlocks, shapeshifters, and demons mingled in the narrow alleyways, trading in forbidden artifacts, enchanted goods, and dangerous secrets. It was a place the Enclave forbade its members from visiting, a place where the rules of society did not apply. Elara, disguised in a hooded cloak, navigated the crowded streets, her senses on high alert. The air was thick with the smells of incense, exotic spices, and raw magic. She felt eyes on her from every corner, assessing her, judging her. She found Nyx waiting for her in a secluded alcove, her face still hidden behind a veil. "You came," Nyx said, her voice devoid of surprise. "I need to know the truth," Elara said. "Show me what the Enclave is hiding." Nyx led her through a maze of twisting alleyways, deeper and deeper into the heart of the market. They stopped in front of a nondescript door, hidden behind a curtain of shimmering energy. "This is it," Nyx said. "The entrance to the vault." "The vault?" Elara asked. "What's in there?" "The Enclave's darkest secrets," Nyx replied. "Their experiments, their lies, their crimes." Nyx reached out and touched the curtain of energy, muttering an incantation. The curtain shimmered and dissolved, revealing a dark, narrow passage. "Are you ready?" Nyx asked, her eyes searching Elara's face. Elara took a deep breath and nodded. "Let's go." They entered the vault, and Elara gasped. The passage opened into a vast chamber filled with rows upon rows of cages. Inside the cages were creatures of all kinds. Humans, mages, shapeshifters, even demons. All of them were emaciated, terrified, their eyes filled with despair. "What is this?" Elara whispered, her voice choked with horror. "The Enclave's research subjects," Nyx said, her voice cold and hard. "They kidnap them, experiment on them, drain them of their magic. They are nothing more than tools to the Enclave." Elara stumbled through the rows of cages, her heart breaking with each anguished cry, each pleading glance. She recognized some of the faces, mages who had disappeared without a trace, refugees who had sought sanctuary in the city. "This is monstrous," Elara said, her voice trembling with rage. "How could they do this?" "Power corrupts," Nyx said, "and the Enclave has too much of it. They believe they are above the law, that they can do whatever they want in the name of protecting the city." Nyx led Elara to the end of the chamber, to a large metal door emblazoned with the Enclave's sigil. "Behind this door is the source of their power," Nyx said. "The artifact they use to control magic in the city." "What is it?" Elara asked. "It's called the Heartstone," Nyx replied. "An ancient crystal that amplifies magic, allowing the Enclave to manipulate the very fabric of reality. But if they control the Heartstone, why do they need to experiment on these people?" Elara asked. "The Heartstone has its limits," Nyx said. "It needs to be fed, and the Enclave feeds it with the magic they extract from their prisoners." "We have to stop them," Elara said, her voice filled with determination. "We have to destroy the Heartstone." Nyx nodded. "I agree, but it won't be easy. The Heartstone is protected by powerful wards and guarded by the Enclave's elite soldiers." "Then we'll have to be smarter," Elara said. "We'll have to find a way to bypass their defenses and strike at the heart of their power." They spent the next few weeks plotting their attack, gathering allies, and preparing for the inevitable confrontation. Elara, torn between her loyalty to the Enclave and her newfound knowledge of their cruelty, struggled to reconcile the two sides of herself. She confided in Liam, who was horrified by what she had discovered. He pledged his support, using his illusion magic to help them infiltrate the Enclave's defenses. They also recruited a group of rogue mages and former Enclave members who had grown disillusioned with the organization's methods. Nyx, meanwhile, contacted her allies within the Shadow Syndicate, calling in favors and gathering information. She revealed little about her past, but Elara sensed that she had her own reasons for wanting to bring down the Enclave. Finally, the night arrived. Elara, Nyx, Liam, and their allies gathered outside the Obsidian Tower, ready to launch their attack. "Are you sure about this?" Liam asked, his voice filled with concern. "Once we start, there's no turning back." Elara nodded, her eyes filled with resolve. "I've never been more sure of anything in my life." They launched their attack, using Liam's illusions to create distractions and Nyx's shadow magic to bypass the Enclave's wards. Elara, meanwhile, used her own magic to disable security systems and open pathways for her allies. They fought their way through the tower, battling Enclave soldiers and powerful mages. Alara felt a surge of adrenaline as she unleashed her magic, blasting enemies with bolts of pure energy. Finally, they reached the Heartstone Chamber, a vast, circular room dominated by a towering crystal that pulsed with raw power. Silas Thorne stood before the Heartstone, his eyes glowing with manic energy. "I knew you'd come," he said, his voice dripping with contempt. "I knew you couldn't resist the truth." "You're insane, Silas," Alara said. "You've become obsessed with power." "Power is the only thing that matters, Alara," Silas said. "It's the only thing that can protect us from the chaos of the world." He raised his hands, channeling the Heartstone's energy. The air crackled with electricity, and Alara felt her magic being drained away. "You can't stop me," Silas said. "I am the guardian of this city. I am the master of magic." Nyx stepped forward, drawing her silver blade. "You are nothing but a tyrant," she said, her voice filled with hatred. She charged at Silas, her blade flashing in the light. Silas deflected her attack with a blast of energy, sending her crashing against a wall. Alara felt a surge of rage. She focused her magic, drawing on the raw power that thrummed within her. She unleashed a torrent of energy, blasting Silas with all her might. Silas staggered, his eyes widening in surprise. He tried to retaliate, but Alara was too fast. She unleashed another blast, and another, until Silas was overwhelmed. He collapsed to the ground, his body twitching, his eyes glazed over. The Heartstone's energy dissipated, and the chamber fell silent. Alara turned to Nyx, who was slowly rising to her feet. "Are you all right?" she asked. Nyx nodded, her face still hidden behind the veil. "I'm fine," she said, "but the Heartstone is still intact. We have to destroy it." Alara nodded. She raised her hands, focusing her magic. She channeled all her energy into a single, devastating blast. The Heartstone shattered, sending shards of crystal flying in all directions. The room shook, and Alara felt a surge of energy flood through her body. The Enclave's power was broken. The city was free. In the aftermath of the battle, the Obsidian Tower lay in ruins, a symbol of the Enclave's fallen power. The city was in chaos, but there was also a sense of hope, a feeling that a new era was dawning. Alara and Nyx stood amidst the rubble, surveying the damage. "What now?" Alara asked, her voice weary. "Now we rebuild," Nyx said. "We create a new system, one based on justice, equality, and respect for all." "But how?" Alara asked. "The Enclave controlled everything. They had spies everywhere. We can't just dismantle their system overnight." "We won't have to," Nyx said. "I have a plan." She revealed her identity to the city, stepping out of the shadows and into the light. She was Nyxandra Aliana, the rightful heir to the throne of Eridor, a hidden kingdom of mages that had been overthrown by the Enclave centuries ago. "The Enclave stole my birthright," Nyxandra said, her voice ringing with authority. "They murdered my family and plunged Eridor into darkness. But I have returned to reclaim what is mine, to restore justice to this city, and to rebuild Eridor into the beacon of hope it once was." The city erupted in cheers. Nyxandra's revelation ignited a fire in their hearts, a belief that a better future was possible. Alara stood by Nyxandra's side, her heart swelling with pride. She had found her purpose, her destiny. She was no longer just a mage, a weapon of the Enclave. She was a leader, a liberator, a champion of the people. Over the next few years, Nyxandra and Alara worked tirelessly to rebuild the city and restore Eridor to its former glory. They established a new council of mages, one that was democratically elected and accountable to the people. They reformed the justice system, ensuring that everyone was treated fairly under the law. And they reopened the borders of Eridor, welcoming refugees and immigrants from all over the world. Nyxandra, now crowned Queen Nyxandra, ruled with wisdom and compassion, her silver eyes shining with determination. Alara served as her chief advisor, her crimson magic a constant source of strength and support. Their bond deepened, transcending the boundaries of friendship and loyalty. They were two halves of a whole, two souls intertwined, destined to rule together. One night, as they stood on the balcony of the Crimson Palace, gazing out over the city, Nyxandra turned to Alara, her eyes filled with love. "Alara," she said, her voice soft and tender, "I never thought I could find happiness again. I thought I was destined to live in the shadows, consumed by revenge. But you showed me that there is more to life than darkness. You showed me that there is hope, that there is love, that there is a future worth fighting for." She reached out and took Alara's hand, her fingers intertwining with hers. "I love you, Alara," she said. "With all my heart." Alara's heart soared. She had waited so long to hear those words, to know that her feelings were reciprocated. "I love you too, Nyxandra," she said, her voice trembling with emotion. More than words can say. They kissed, their lips meeting in a passionate embrace. The city lights shimmered around them, and the stars twinkled in the sky. They were together, finally, after so many years of pain and struggle. As they pulled apart, Nyxandra smiled, her silver eyes sparkling with joy. "Will you marry me, Alara?" she asked. "Will you be my queen?" Alara's heart skipped a beat. "Yes," she said, her voice filled with happiness. "Yes, I will." And so, Alara became Queen Alara, the crimson flame to Nyxandra's veiled blade. Together, they ruled Eridor with justice and compassion, ushering in an era of peace and prosperity. Their love story became a legend, a testament to the power of hope, the strength of loyalty, and the enduring bond between two souls destined to be together. Years passed, and Eridor flourished under the joint rule of Nyxandra and Alara. Their reign was marked by innovation, equality, and a renewed appreciation for the power of magic. They established schools for young mages, encouraged the arts, and fostered a culture of tolerance and understanding. One crisp autumn evening, as the leaves turned gold and crimson, Nyxandra and Alara found themselves strolling through the royal gardens. Hand in hand, they admired the vibrant colors and inhaled the sweet fragrance of the blooming flowers. "It's beautiful, isn't it?" Alara murmured, her gaze sweeping over the landscape. "Yes, it is," Nyxandra agreed, her eyes fixed on Alara's radiant face. "But nothing compares to the beauty I see in you." Alara blushed, her heart fluttering at the queen's words. "You always know how to make me smile," she said, leaning in to kiss Nyxandra's cheek. As they continued their walk, they noticed a group of children playing near the fountain. Laughter filled the air as the youngsters chased each other, their innocent joy infectious. "Look at them," Nyxandra said, a soft smile gracing her lips. "They are the future of Eridor, and a bright future it will be," Alara added, her voice filled with optimism. "We've created a world where they can thrive, where they can be themselves without fear of judgment or persecution." As they watched the children play, a sense of contentment washed over them. They had faced countless challenges, overcome seemingly insurmountable obstacles, and emerged victorious. Together, they had built a kingdom where love reigned supreme, where justice prevailed, and where magic flourished. But their work was far from over. There were still injustices to be righted, battles to be fought, and challenges to be overcome. But with each other by their sides, Nyxandra and Alara knew that they could face anything. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the gardens, they paused by the fountain, the waters shimmering in the fading light. Nyxandra reached out and took Alara's hand, her touch sending a jolt of electricity through her veins. "Thank you, Alara," she said, her voice filled with gratitude. "For everything. For your love, your loyalty, your unwavering support. I couldn't have done this without you." Alara squeezed Nyxandra's hand, her eyes brimming with affection. "And thank you, Nyxandra," she said, "for believing in me, for giving me a purpose, for showing me the true meaning of love." They stood in silence for a moment, their hearts connected, their souls intertwined. The world around them faded away, and they were left with nothing but each other, their love a beacon of hope in the darkness. As the final rays of sunlight disappeared below the horizon, Nyxandra leaned in and kissed Alara, their lips meeting in a tender embrace. The kiss was a promise of forever, a testament to their enduring love, and a symbol of the bright future they would create together. And so, under the crimson sky, the crimson flame and the veiled blade stood united, their love story etched in the annals of Eridor's history, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, hope can always prevail, and love can always conquer all. Okay, let's ratchet up the drama and add some gut-wrenching twists to this story, keeping the American narrative voice and building towards those tear-jerking moments. Life as co-rulers was a delicate dance. While Eridor thrived under their combined leadership, whispers of dissent began to surface, fueled by those who clung to the old ways, who couldn't accept a queen from the shadows, a queen who shared her throne with another woman. One crisp morning, Alara discovered a disturbing message etched into her chamber's mirror in frost, a symbol of a forgotten magical lineage thought extinct, a lineage linked to the darkest practices of the old enclave. Panic coiled in her stomach. This wasn't just a threat, it was a targeted attack on her very identity, on the magic that defined her. She confided in Nyxandra, showing her the mirrored message. A shadow crossed Nyxandra's face. "This symbol, it's older than the enclave itself. Legends say those who wield this magic were capable of unimaginable cruelty, twisting life itself. But I would never," Alara protested, horrified. "I know you wouldn't," Nyxandra said, taking Alara's hand. "But someone is trying to manipulate you, to make others believe you are a monster waiting to be unleashed." They delved into ancient texts, seeking the origins of the symbol and the lineage it represented. What they discovered chilled them to the bone. The lineage, known as the Bloodweavers, were rumored to possess the ability to manipulate life force itself, draining it from others to enhance their own power. They were responsible for unspeakable atrocities, experiments that made the Enclave's vaults look like child's play. The revelation cast a shadow over Alara. Was it possible that this darkness lay dormant within her, waiting to be awakened? The whispers intensified, turning into open accusations. Rumors spread like wildfire, fueled by carefully orchestrated events designed to make Alara appear unstable, dangerous. One day, a series of unexplained magical surges ripped through the city, causing chaos and destruction. While there was no direct evidence linking Alara to the events, the whispers grew louder, more insistent. People looked at her with fear in their eyes, their trust eroded by carefully planted seeds of doubt. Alara felt herself spiraling, the weight of the accusations, the fear that she might be capable of such darkness, threatened to consume her. She withdrew from her duties, isolating herself in her chambers, haunted by nightmares of the Bloodweavers and their twisted magic. Sensing Alara's turmoil, Nyxandra tried everything to reassure her, to remind her of the good she had done, of the love they shared. But Alara was drowning in self-doubt, her confidence shattered. One evening, Nyxandra found Alara standing on the palace balcony, gazing out at the city, with a haunted look in her eyes. "Elara, you can't let this consume you," Nixandra pleaded. "You are not a monster. You are the most compassionate, selfless person I know." Elara turned to her, tears streaming down her face. "But what if they're right, Nixandra? What if this darkness is a part of me, waiting to take over? What if I end up hurting you, hurting everyone I love?" Nixandra stepped forward, taking Elara in her arms. "Then we'll face it together," she said, her voice firm. "Whatever darkness lies within you, we'll confront it. I will never let you fall." But Nixandra's unwavering support wasn't enough. The whispers continued, the accusations grew louder, and the pressure mounted. Elara felt herself slipping, her grip on reality loosening. One fateful night, Elara awoke to find herself standing in the Heartstone chamber, the ruins of the shattered crystal shimmering in the moonlight. She had no memory of how she got there, but she felt an irresistible urge to touch the shards, to reconnect with the power that once flowed through them. As she reached out, a voice echoed in her mind, a voice that was both familiar and alien. "Embrace your destiny, Elara. Embrace the power of the Bloodweavers. Together, we can reshape the world in our image." Elara recoiled in horror, recognizing the voice as that of her ancestor, the most notorious of the Bloodweavers. She tried to resist, to break free from the influence, but the voice was too strong, too seductive. Suddenly, Nixandra burst into the chamber, her silver eyes wide with alarm. "Elara, what are you doing?" she cried. Elara turned to her, her eyes glowing with an unnatural crimson light. "I'm embracing my destiny, Nixandra," she said, her voice cold and distant. "And you can't stop me." She unleashed a blast of dark magic, sending Nixandra flying across the room. Nixandra crashed against a wall, her body limp and lifeless. Elara stared at her fallen lover, her heart shattering into a million pieces. She had done the very thing she feared most. She had hurt the one person she loved more than anything in the world. The realization snapped Elara out of her trance. The influence of the Bloodweavers receded, leaving her alone with her grief and regret. She rushed to Nixandra's side, cradling her in her arms. "Nixandra, please wake up," she sobbed, tears streaming down her face. "I didn't mean to hurt you. I would never do anything to harm you." Nixandra stirred, her eyes fluttering open. She looked at Elara, her expression filled with love and forgiveness. "It's okay, Elara," she whispered, her voice weak. "I know it wasn't you. I know you would never hurt me intentionally." "But I did," Elara cried, her voice choked with emotion. "I almost killed you. I'm a monster." "No, you're not," Nixandra said, reaching up to stroke Elara's cheek. "You're the strongest, most courageous person I know, and I will always love you no matter what." She coughed, a trickle of blood escaping her lips. Elara's heart plummeted. She knew that Nixandra was dying. "There's something I need to tell you," Nixandra said, her voice barely audible. "Before I go." "Anything," Elara said, her voice trembling. "The Bloodweavers, they weren't just manipulating life force," Nixandra said, struggling to speak. "They were also connected to the Heartstone. It amplified their power, but it also corrupted them." She paused, taking a shaky breath. "There's a way to sever that connection," she said, "but it requires the sacrifice." "What kind of sacrifice?" Elara asked, her heart pounding in her chest. "The Bloodweaver magic, it's tied to your bloodline," Nixandra said. "The only way to break the connection is to erase your lineage from existence." Elara stared at her, her mind reeling. "But how is that possible?" she asked. "There's a ritual, an ancient spell that can erase a bloodline from the fabric of time itself," Nixandra said. "But it requires the willing sacrifice of the last remaining member of that bloodline." Elara understood. Nixandra was asking her to sacrifice herself, to erase her own existence, to save the world from the darkness of the Bloodweavers. "I can't ask you to do that," Elara said, tears streaming down her face. "I can't live without you." "You have to," Nyxandra said, her voice firm. "You're the only one who can do this. You're the only one who can save Eredor." She reached up and kissed Elara, her lips lingering on hers. "Promise me you'll do it," she whispered. "Promise me you'll save our people." Elara looked into Nyxandra's eyes, seeing the love, the hope, the unwavering faith that she had in her. She knew what she had to do. "I promise," she said, her voice filled with resolve. "I promise I'll do it." Nyxandra smiled, her eyes closing for the last time. Elara held her close, her tears falling onto her lifeless body. Nyxandra Aeliana, Queen of Eredor, was dead, and Elara knew that she had to fulfill her promise, even if it meant sacrificing herself. The city mourned the loss of their queen, Elara, cloaked in grief and burdened by her impending sacrifice, prepared for the ritual. She found the ancient spell hidden in the deepest vaults of the palace, a chilling incantation written in a language long forgotten. Liam, devastated by Nyxandra's death, stood by her side, offering his unwavering support. "Are you sure about this, Elara?" he asked, his voice choked with emotion. "There has to be another way." "There isn't," Elara said, her voice firm. "This is the only way to save Eredor, to prevent the darkness of the Bloodweavers from ever resurfacing." She embraced Liam, her heart aching with the knowledge that she would soon be erased from his memory. "Thank you, Liam," she said, "for everything, for your friendship, your loyalty, your love. I'll never forget you." As the day of the ritual arrived, Elara stood before the ancient altar, the chilling incantation echoing in her mind. She closed her eyes, summoning all her courage, all her love for Eredor, all her grief for Nyxandra. She began to chant, her voice growing stronger with each word. The air crackled with energy, the ground trembled beneath her feet. The very fabric of reality seemed to bend and distort around her. As she reached the final verse, a blinding light engulfed her. She felt herself fading, her memories dissolving, her very existence unraveling. But before she disappeared completely, she saw a vision of Nyxandra smiling at her, her eyes filled with love. And she heard her voice, clear and strong, whispering in her ear. "Thank you, Elara," Nyxandra said. "You saved us all. You will never be forgotten." And then Elara was gone, erased from existence. The world blinked. The chilling legacy of the Bloodweavers vanished, as if it had never existed. The city of Eredor mourned, not just for their fallen queen, but for a forgotten hero, a queen who had sacrificed everything for her love of her kingdom. Liam stood beside Nyxandra's grave, tears streaming down his face. He felt a deep sense of loss, a void in his heart that he couldn't explain. He knew that someone important had been taken from him, but he couldn't remember who. Life went on. Eredor rebuilt itself, stronger and more resilient than ever. The memory of Nyxandra Aeliana became a legend, a symbol of hope and sacrifice. But the city never forgot the sacrifice, the love, the fire that had burned so brightly and then vanished. In the gardens of the Crimson Palace, a single crimson rose bloomed every spring, a silent testament to a love that transcended time and existence. It was a reminder of Elara, the crimson flame who had given everything for Eredor, the queen whose name was erased from history, but whose love would live on forever in the hearts of the people she saved. And sometimes on a quiet evening, as the wind whispered through the palace gardens, Liam would swear he could hear a faint echo, a whisper of laughter, a memory of crimson magic dancing in the moonlight. A memory of a love that was lost but never truly gone, a memory of the queen who had sacrificed everything, the crimson flame who had burned so brightly and then vanished, leaving behind a kingdom forged in tears, but eternally bathed in the light of her love. Did this story hit you right in the feels? Let me know in the comments. What's your favorite forbidden love story, real or fictional? And if you've read The Veiled Blade and The Crimson Flame, what did you think of the ending? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with your fellow fantasy lovers.